If I had her phone number, I would call her. If I were you, I would help her. If I had a lot of money, I would buy a big house. If I studied harder, I would pass the exam. If I were at your place, I would forgive him. So these all sentences are based on second type of conditional sentence, which tells us about an unreal and hypothetical situation. Means a situation which can only be imagined, which cannot be real. And to form such sentences, we use two different type of clauses. The first clause tells us about condition and the second clause tells us about result. And to frame sentence of second clause, we use the structure would plus base form, means would plus first form of the verb. So condition clause, as I have said, the first clause is the condition clause, which always talks about imagination. Now let's see with the example. So the example is, if I were you, I would forgive him. If I were you is the condition. The condition is imagination. Means if I were you, अगर मैं तुम्हारी जगह पे होता तो I would forgive him. मैं उसे क्षमा कर देता. But I am not at your place, so I cannot forgive him. I am just imagining in the present moment that if I were at your place. So this is my imagination which I show in the first clause. And if the imagination were real, then this would be the reality. This would be the result. The second clause would be the result. Now the second example is, if I had a lot of money. If I had a lot of money, I would buy a big house. अगर मेरे पास बहुत सारे पैसे होते तो मैं एक बड़ा घर खरीदती. If I had a lot of money is my imagination. Like I am imagining in the present moment that if I had a lot of money, अगर मेरे पास बहुत सारे पैसे होते, so second clause क्या कह रहा है? I would buy a big house. तो मैं क्या करता, एक बड़ा घर खरीदता. But in the current moment I do not have. I am just imagining. Next example is, if I had her phone number, I would call her. I am not having her phone number. I am just imagining in the current moment that if I had her phone number, अगर मेरे पास उसका फ़ोन नंबर होता तो मैं उसे ज़रूर कॉल कर पाती. So the result would only be possible. The result would only be possible, would only be real if the imagination were true. And imagination can't be true in second type of conditional sentence. So yeah, I hope you have understood the concept. One more example we can take. If I studied harder, I would pass the exam. So if I studied harder is the first clause, which is my imagination. I am imagining that if I studied harder, अगर मैंने कठिन परिश्रम किया होता, so result क्या होता? I would pass the exam. But that is not the reality. That is imagination. That if I studied harder, so result would be different. So if the imagination would be real, like if the imagination were real, then the result would be the reality. Okay, so I hope you have understood the concept of second type of conditional sentence. Thank you.